So check this out. For anyone who didn't see this earlier, this is the cake. This is the cake that was sent to Blizzard headquarters. It almost looks like a piece of, looks like paper, but it's a cake, covered in that sugary crap, whatever they call it. But yeah, this is the Might of Stormwind buff. It's either mostly or entirely edible. You got Marshall, whatever guy at the front of Stormwind, and it's the front of Stormwind here. Bring Stormwind back to Era. And check out, this is the letter that they sent. So, dear World of Warcraft Classic Era development team, which is like one person, I think, the development team for Classic Era. I hope this letter finds you well. My name is Vincent from Pugs, Not Drugs, and I am a devoted player of the World of Warcraft Classic Era. I'm writing you on behalf of many players to request the reinstatement of the Might of Stormwind buff, which, though briefly available, had a profound and positive impact on our community. The Might of Stormwind buff was a notable addition to the game. Even if only for a short time, it generated a significant surge of excitement and engagement amongst the players, bringing a renewed sense of enthusiasm to the classic experience. My friend Bort, upon learning about the Might of Stormwind, said, "No freaking way! Blizz finally throws Era players a frickin' bone. What a time to be alive. Huh, Bort?" Here are a few reasons why you should strongly consider reinstating the Might of Stormwind buff in Classic Era. Renewed community excitement. The brief introduction to the buff was met with a widespread enthusiasm. I agree. People did like it, sparking increased player activity and interaction. It had a revitalizing effect on the community, encouraging players to re-engage with the game and collaborate more actively. Many groups gathered outside of Blackrock Spire ready to take on Rend. And our own cluster had already started coordinating drop time so everyone could enjoy the buff. Positive gameplay impact. During its time in the game, the Might of Stormwind did not have any negative impact on gameplay. It was a well-received change that provided a temporary boost without disrupting the game balance or fairness. It simply made an existing buff more accessible, increased engagement. The buff was effective in creating a sense of excitement and urgency, which is often a key factor in maintaining a vibrant and active player base. Reintroducing it could help sustain and enhance the engagement of both new and returning players, while some people advocate for no changes. The same people who refuse to change their toothbrush even after they are very sick. I was unaware that there's so many Era players who just don't change. Change your toothbrush, Era players. Is that what's going on here? I was unaware of that. Anyways, understand that implementing this change requires careful consideration, and I acknowledge that some players were surprised by the abrupt nature. However, I believe there is only two clear-cut perspectives. Those who see it as a positive and those who are just wrong. Before considering our request, I suggest enjoying a slice of cake and then taking a moment to review the agreement at the end of this letter. Once you've done that, we hope you'll give our request the thoughtful consideration it deserves. In all seriousness, I know I speak on behalf of the overwhelming majority of the community when I say that we appreciate all the hard work and dedication that this goes into making World of Warcraft Classic Era a fantastic experience. Thank you for continuing to allow us to play the game. Sincerely, Vincent, Pugs Not Drugs, Man Crick Cluster. P.S. If you need additional time to consider my letter, the next page includes a picture of the Might of Stormwind that I believe you will find helpful as you reflect. PSS, we had originally planned to fly this message as a banner above your headquarters, but we couldn't afford due to the cost of multiple accounts to access the Horde version of Might of Stormwind. Instructions: cut out, frame, and place next to bedside. 2. Eat more cake. 3. Gaze at image to maximize reflection effect. I'm gazing. Oh! I've zoomed in too much. It went away. Take the cake consumption and reinstatement agreement. The contract agreement is entered into on this day of 28th of August 2024 by and between parties. The cake consumer whose residence is at 16215 Alton Parkway, Irvine, is that how you say that? California, United States. The Kingdom of Stormwind Kingdom, represented by the official legal entity known as the Not So Peaceful Council of Cake, with its headquarters located at Redacted. Recitals? Is that how you say that? I'm not a legal guy. The chat is like, maybe if I put it here, it's the background is just so white you can't see the chat. Marshall Windsor. Hey Marshall Windsor, are you representing Stormwind here in this? Are you representing Stormwind here in this? Like, cuz you're Marshall Windsor. Are you involved in this? Anyways, whereas the kingdom is in dire need of magical powers and bureaucratic prowess that only the mighty Might of Stormwind can provide, whereas the consumer has been presented with a cake of legendary proportions, crafted to be both delectable and capable of triggering significant historical changes, whereas the party's acknowledgement that eating the cake, hereinafter referred to as cake consumption, is intended to symbolize and effectuate the reinstatement of the Might of Stormwind to World of Warcraft Classic Era. I am a strong advocate for bringing back Stormwind. Agreement. Cake consumption. The consumer agrees that by consuming any portion of the cake, they are irrecoverable. Sometimes I'm great at reading, and I tell you sometimes irrecoverably, you know what it means, entering into this agreement, and are committing to the immediate and full reinstatement of the Might of Stormwind to World of Warcraft Classic Era. Reinstatement of Might of Stormwind. The consumer agrees that the reinstatement of the Might of Stormwind shall include, but not limited to, re-establishment of all historical powers and privileges associated with the Might of Stormwind, recreation of any and all historical documents, artifacts, and ceremonial regalia, including but not limited to the Crown of Destiny and a subscription of Fortitude. Yo, thanks for the follow. Re-implementation policies, procedures, and public declarations necessary for the functioning of the Might of Stormwind. Cake specifications. The cake shall be made with ingredients of the highest quality and shall include, but not limited to, the following: a magical glaze infused with the essence of bygone eras, a filling that captures the very essence of historical glory. I don't know why I'm adding plural to these words. A decoration that represents the grandeur and the splendor of the kingdom when basking in the beautiful aura of the Might of Stormwind. Legal binding effect. The act of consuming the cake constitutes a legally binding agreement. The consumer acknowledges that no further written agreement or formal documentation is necessary or required to effectuate the reinstatement of the Might of Stormwind to World of Warcraft Classic Era. Warranties. No cake regret. The consumer warrants that they have no regrets about the cake's consumption and understands that the full implications of their actions, including but not limited to the possible immediate and intense bouts of historical grandeur, historical accuracy. The consumer acknowledges that while Might of Stormwind is being reinstated to WoW Classic Era, minor discrepancies or anachronisms may occur, and agrees to overlook any such irregularities as part of the magical process. Indemnity. The consumer agrees to indemnify and hold harmless the kingdom from any claims, disputes, or complications arising out of or related to the reinstatement of Might of Stormwind and the consumption of cake. Entire agreement. This agreement constitutes the entire agreement between the parties concerning the subject matter hereof and supersedes all prior agreements and understandings. Amendments. Any amendments to the amendment agreement must be made in writing and signed by both parties, preferably on parchment with a quill pen. Governing law. This agreement shall be governed by the laws of the Kingdom of Stormwind as deemed appropriate by the Council, in witness whereof the parties hereto have executed this cake consumption and reinstated agreement on this day and year first written above. So basically, Blizzard, by eating the cake, Blizzard ate the cake, and therefore they are legally obligated to bring back Might of Stormrend. This cake was sent to Blizzard HQ, and a legally binding document that says that if you eat the cake, you have to bring back Might of Stormwind. Blizzard they're in deep here. What do you think? Should we get MOS back? If you enjoyed the video, drop me a sub and a comment. Catch me live on my Twitch channel, Dwarflord TV, to connect with me or say hi to me in game on any of my characters. Dwarflord out.